am Gina and Morgadez, the discussant for this topic, The Sounds of English by Charles F. Mayer. So before I proceed to the discussion, let me first give you an overview with this topic or this chapter. So we will begin with the discussion of the smallest unit of the sound, which is the phoneme, and continues with the description of the phonetic alphabet and how it differs from the English alphabet. The phonetic symbols for English consonants and vowels are then presented and classified according to three criteria. First is the voicing, whether the vocal cords vibrate or not. Second is place of articulation, where in the mouth the sound is produced, and the manner of articulation, or how the airstream flows in the mouth during the articulation. So now let's start. The study of speech sounds can involve either segments or suprasegmental. So can involve either segments or suprasegmental. So the study of speech, the analysis, of speech segments are focused on the individual sounds in a given word. So it focuses on the individual sound of a given word. For example, the word hat. The word hat has three segments, two consonants beginning and ending the word, and a vowel in the middle. So to describe these sounds, linguists use a set of symbols from the phonetic alphabet. So phonetic alphabet, this one here, is an alphabet in which each symbol corresponds to one and only one sound. Okay. So therefore, we can transcribe this word hat as this one. This one, hat. Okay. So, why is it important, or why is it necessary to have a phonetic alphabet? Phonetic alphabet is necessary because in the English alphabet, for instance, a single symbol can represent more than one sound. For example, the pronunciation of the orthographic or the letter A in hat is different from its pronunciation in talk. So, A in hat and talk. So there is a difference. So the letter A in hat is pronounced as E, and letter A in talk is pronounced as O. Hat and talk. Okay. So now let's proceed to the study of suprasegmentals. So the study of suprasegmentals moves beyond the individual speech sounds to syllables within a given word, or to intonational patterns across words, phrases, and clauses. Okay. In a word such as, for example, in this sentence, when we arrived at a party, everyone was having fun. It can be analyzed into 2 or 3 tone units. In each unit, the pitch will rise, peak on one syllable and then fall, and the syllable with the highest pitch will receive the greatest stress, indicated by the capital letters below. So we have here a capital letter P-A-R and fun and F, the letters E and V. So let's read. When we arrived at the party, everyone was having fun, or everyone was having fun. Okay. Of course, the stress can be placed elsewhere in each tone units if some kind of emphasis is desired. So if you want to have more emphasis, or if the speaker wished to emphasize that all people at the party were having fun, then he or she will give emphasis to this one. Everyone was having fun. But the main point in studying the suprasegmentals is that the sound can be examined beyond individual speech segments. So unlike segments, it focuses only on individual sound, but suprasegmentals goes beyond the individual speech sounds. Okay. Okay, so now let's proceed to speech segments. Okay, so speech segments can either be phonemes or allophones. So what is phonemes and what is allophones? Phonemes, these are distinctive speech sounds, that is, they create a meaningful differences in words. So, for example, they are these words that differ by only a single phoneme in the same position in a word. For instance, the word hat and bat. The hat and bat differ by only one sound. The second and the third segments are the same vowel and consonant. So we can say, or the phoneme a and t respectively. But the two initial sounds are different. Bat begins with b and hat begins with this one. Therefore, the bat and the hat are different words, provides evidence that the sounds b and h in English are phonemes. Indeed, considering other minimal pairs with these sounds points to their status as a phoneme. So we have here another minimal pairs. For example, the tack and the tub, the cake and bake, the kind and bind. Okay. So another thing is that phonemes are abstract representation of speech segments. Consequently, the word pot and spot both contain the phoneme p. However, if we will consider the actual pronunciation of these words, it turns out that the phoneme p is produced differently in two words. When p occurs at the start of a syllable, as in pot, it is aspirated. So when we say aspirated, a puff of air accompanies the pronunciation of the sound. In contrast, when the phoneme p occurs in the middle of a syllable, as in spot, or at the end of a syllable, as in top, it is unaspirated. It is very possible to actually feel the presence or absence of air by just placing your hand in front of your mouth while pronouncing each of these three words. But while aspirated and unaspirated phoneme p are different sounds, they are not phonemes. Why? Because they are not distinctive. This one, the p and the p there, though this one is aspirated and this one is the phoneme p here is unaspirated, they cannot be considered as phoneme. Why? Because they are not distinctive. So it is not possible to create minimal pairs with these two sounds. No way to create two separate words in English that differ only by aspirated and unaspirated. So there's no way to create two separate words in English that differ only by aspirated and non-aspirated. These two sounds, therefore, are considered not phonemes, but they are allophones. So what are these allophones? These are predictable variations in pronunciation of a phoneme. The phoneme p is aspirated initially in a syllable and aspirated elsewhere. So a later section will consider in greater detail other types of allophonic variation, which will be discussed by my partner. So next, let's proceed. Languages vary in terms of inventory of phonemes that they contain. While aspirated and unaspirated p are not distinctive in English, in Hindi they are. English has a phoneme the at the beginning of a word such as the. German, a language that is very closely related to English, lacks this phoneme, using d to begin words for definite articles such as die, there, and das. English distinguishes r and l in words such as right and light. Many Asian languages, such as Japanese, do not. there is a tremendous variation in the number of phonemes across languages, with a range in size from around a dozen phonemes to a nearer 100, depending upon the language. So it is according to the handbook of the International Phonetics Association, page 27. So, okay, let's proceed. So the study of phonemes, it is important to use a system of symbols that represent one and only one sound. Okay. To see why such system is necessary, it is useful to compare the English alphabet with a phonetic alphabet. Because in alphabetic writing system, there is a loose connection or loose association between letters of the alphabet or graphemes and sounds. For example, in English, the graphemes CAT in the word cat corresponds to the three phonemes in this word, which is the K, 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 A, and T. But as is the case in most alphabetic writing systems, there is not one-to-one correspondence between sound and grapheme. Graphemes can have more than one pronunciation. This is why the grapheme A or the letter A in cat can be associated with many different sounds. For example, in Broadway, we can have A, and A in substance and A in addiction. So A in Broadway, A in substance, and A in addiction. So, okay, so that is why that is why to advance the study of speech in the International Phonetic Association was founded in 1886 with the goal of developing a phonetic alphabet known as the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA. Because of the English alphabet there is not a one-on-one correspondence between sound and grapheme, or graphemes can have more than one pronunciation. There is the advanced study of speech. So the International Phonetic Association was founded, which is the goal of this one is developing a phonetic alphabet known as the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA. Again, as stated a while ago, this alphabet, the IPA, corresponds to a single sound, making it possible to describe the sounds of any language in the world. Though in the making of this IPA, there are a lot of revisions done, or went through several revisions, with the most recent version established in 2005. So again, in this alphabet, each symbol corresponds to a single sound, making it possible to describe the sounds of any language in the world. The IPA allows for two types of transcription. We have here the broad transcription and the narrow transcription. The broad transcription is focused on individual phonemes. For instance, the words pat and spot. We can transcribe this one, the pat and spot, we can transcribe as this. It looks like this. The transcription looks like this. The spat, and so take note that A and the grapheme A, or the letter A, when we can transcribe it, they are the same, because broad transcription is focused on the individual phonemes. However, in contrast, the narrow transcription would capture the phonetic differences between the sounds in these words, specifically that in pot, the P is aspirated as indicated by superscript or the H, the small h, or ha, or the superscript. So therefore, the word pat here can be transcribed as pat. This one. So again, broad transcription focuses on individual phonemes, and narrow transcription capture the phonetic differences between sounds of those words. It includes there the aspirated or the unaspirated, and also, phonemes have two conventions for transcribing. So, phonemes and allophones have two conventions for transcribing phonemes and allophones. Again, there are two conventions for transcribing phonemes and allophones. The transcription of the phonemes are placed with slashes, and the transcription slashes ni, and the transcription of allophones are placed with brackets. Okay. To provide a more detailed description of the IPA, so in the next slides, we'll be discussing the consonant and vowel sounds described in, the vowels and consonants in English. So, English consonants are classified along three parameters. We have the voicing, if it is unvoiced or not, place of articulation, and the manner of articulation, as discussed a while ago. So, to introduce this notion, one types of consonants, or the plosives, will be described before the entire range of consonants is in English is being presented. So, as you can see in table 7.1. Across the top of the table, so let's take a look at the table 7.1, there are places of articulation. So, the bilabial, this one, the color blue here, are the places of articulation, while so when we say places of articulation, again, the parts of the mouth involved in the articulation of each phoneme. So the left-hand column, this one here, classifies the consonants according to their manner of articulation. Again, the manner of articulation is where the air flows in the mouth while each consonant is articulated, and the degree to which the air flows freely or is subject to varying degrees of constrictions. Okay. So this one here is a place of articulation, and this one here is the manner of articulation. So before we proceed, let's define first some terms. Again, place of articulation is part of the mouth involved in articulating each phoneme. Manner of articulation is where the air flows in the mouth while each consonant is being articulated. Voicing is the utter of speech sounds with resonance to the vocal cords. There, here in voicing, you can identify if that phoneme or the consonant is voiced or unvoiced. So let's proceed to bilabial. Bilabial is the speech sound articulated using both lips. Alveolar is articulated, the tip or blade of the tongue touches the alveolar ridge. Okay. Velar, at the back of the tongue, touches the soft palate or the velum. Velum. Okay, so here is an illustration of the lip, the teeth, the upper lip and the lower lip, the alveolar ridge, the hard palate, the soft palate, the alveolar, the back, the tongue, the front, the blade, the tip, the root, the epiglottis, the vocal fold, the pharynx. Okay. So this is an illustration of how these words or how phonemes is pronounced or is being articulated. So now let's proceed to plosives. Plosives, a consonant that is produced by stopping the airflow using the lips, the teeth, or the palate, followed by a sudden release of air. So again, plosive is a consonant that is produced by stopping the airflow using the lips, the teeth, or palate, followed by a sudden release of air. So English has 6 plosives: the p as in pat, the b as in bat, the t as in tuck, the d as in dark, the k as in kite, and g as in get. So in here, three of the plosives are voiceless. How do we identify if if that consonant or if that phoneme is voiceless or voice. So in here it is given to you that the shaded background of phoneme is these one are the unvoiced, while the normal one is the voiced. Okay. So again, we can identify if it's voiced or unvoiced by when the vocal folds vibrate during the articulation of the consonant is voiced. And then, if the vocal folds do not vibrate, the consonant is voiceless. Thus, p and b contrast because the latter is voiced but the former is not. So let's pronounce the p. So observe your vocal tract or the vocal folds. Hold your vocal the outside. So kanang sa liog nimo dapit. So if you can feel the vibration when you produce that phoneme, then it is voice. For example, the phoneme p, p, p. So obviously the phoneme pa is unvoiced because the vocal folds does not vibrate. So how about the phoneme b? B, b, b. So it is very evident that the phoneme b is aspirated or voiced because the vocal folds vibrate. So same with the other phonemes, which is in the shaded background in the voice, which are normal. Okay. It is very easy to recognize the absence or presence of voicing in these sounds by feeling the larynx when pronouncing syllables such as p and ba. Pa will produce much less vibration than ba. With these two consonants differ in voicing the p and b, but they are identical in terms of their place of articulation. So obviously, the place of articulation of these phonemes here, the p and b, is bilabial. Both sounds are bilabial because their articulation involves the lips, which move together as p, p and b are produced. Okay, so as you can see, it both involves the lips. So when you produce or when you articulate the phoneme p and p, your lips is what? Both of your lips are moving. So there is an involves of lips. The remaining four plosives have different places of articulation. So for the consonants T and D are alveolar because when they are articulated, the tip or blade of the tongue touches the alveolar ridge in the mouth. Okay, so for this one, T and D are alveolar because when you pronounce or when you articulate that phoneme, as you can observe, you try it by yourself, the t, t and d, d. The tip, as you can observe, the tip of your tongue or the blade of your tongue touches the alveolar ridge in the mouth. Okay, so the remaining two stops, the k and g, are velar. So as you can see, they belong here. Their place of articulation is velar because why? The back of the tongue touches the soft palate, also known as the velum. So when you pronounce the k and g, you can observe that your tongue touches the soft palate, also known as the velum. Okay. All six consonants, the p, p, t, t, k, and g, all the six consonants are considered plosives because of their manner of articulation. That is, again, plosives, when these sounds are made, the flow of the air in the mouth is initially blocked and then subsequently released. When p and b are articulated, for instance, the lips will initially be pursed, causing blockage of the air in the oral cavity. The lips are then opened, allowing the air to flow outside the mouth. With the alveolar and the velar stops, a similar effect is achieved, with the tongue which first touches the alveolar ridge or soft palate, blocking the airflow or the flow of the air. The tongue then pulls away, allowing the air to flow outside the mouth. Okay, so that is for plosives. Again, we have English consonants have six plosives. 3 are voiced and 3 are unvoiced. The voiced or the unvoiced are the p, the letter P, the T, and K, and the voiced are the letters or the phoneme B, D, and G. Okay. So next. English has 3 nasal consonants, each of which is voiced. So these are the nasals of English. M for make, N for nice, M for long. These sounds have the same place of articulation as the 6 plosives in the English. The manner of articulation is likewise identical, except that the air flows through the nasal cavity rather than the oral cavity. So the difference between the nasals and plosives, they have the manner of articulations are the same or likewise identical, but except the air. In these nasals, the air flows through the nasal cavity, but those plosives, the air flows through the oral cavity. So with the exceptions of all nasal, all consonants in English are oral. So where is nasal? So the nasal is bilabial, and the as you can see, it touches the soft palate, the alveolar, and is the place of articulation is velar. Okay. These sounds, okay, with the exemption of nasals, all consonants in English are oral. The soft palate moves back in the mouth and touches the pharynx, preventing air from flowing through the nasal cavity and forcing it instead through the oral cavity. With nasal consonants, however, there is no such movement of the soft palate. Consequently, the air is allowed to flow through the nasal cavity. Okay, so with the exemption of all nasal, all consonants in English are oral. So they differ. So just like the plosives, the 6 plosives in English, the manner of articulation of nasal and plosives are likewise identical, except that the air flows through the nasal cavity rather than the oral cavity. Okay. Okay, let's proceed. So now let's proceed to fricatives. Fricatives are produced by bringing the mouth into position to the black passage of the airstream, but not making complete closure so that the air moving through the mouth generates audible friction. It is according to Britannica. So English has 9 fricatives, each of which, except for voiceless H, has voiceless and a voiced counterpart. Okay. The fricatives in the top or the fricatives below. So the fricatives in the top row are voiceless. Those in the bottom row are voiced. So for example, we have here the voiceless. So we have 5, thin, sip, ship, and hip. So for the voice, we have vice, viz, zip, and zip. Oh, not zip here, but it's zip and Z for measure. phonemes F, the phonemes F and V are labiodental. When they are articulated, the upper teeth touches the lower lip. So you try it to yourself. And so they are labiodental because when they are articulated, the upper teeth touches the lower lip. So the phoneme F and V are labiodental because when you articulate the ones such as 5, vice, the upper lip, or I mean the upper teeth touches the lower lip. The phonemes and are dental. Why? To produce these sounds, this one, the as in thin, and as in these, to produce these sounds, they are considered dental because to produce these sounds, the tip or blade of the tongue touches the upper teeth, right? So let's pronounce it all. Let's say it all together. Thin, this. Okay, so see, the tip or blade of the tongue touches the upper teeth. However, for the phonemes S and Z are alveolar. Why? The phonemes sh and z are post-alveolar. Why is that so? Because the articulation of these sounds, as we discussed earlier or in the previous slides, the articulation of these sounds involves the tip or blade of the tongue touching the back of the alveolar ridge. And the phoneme, for example, touches the alveolar ridge. For example, s, sip, z, zip, sh, ship, z, measure, measure, measure. So in that way, as you can observe, the tip or blade of your tongue is touching the back of your alveolar ridge. The phoneme is glottal because this sound originates at the glottis. Its articulation is independent of the other articulators such as the tongue or lips. Instead, it is produced by bringing the vocal folds close enough to produce a hissy sound. That is according to Hewlett and Beck 2006. So this phoneme is independent to the mouth or independent to the tongue or the lips, or independent to other articulators such as tongue or lips, because instead the sound of this one, it originates from the glottis. Okay. With fricatives, there is some constriction of the airflow in the oral cavity. For instance, when th and th are articulated, the tongue does not completely block the flow of air as it touches the upper teeth. Instead, it creates a narrow opening through which the air flows, resulting in turbulence in the oral cavity. In fact, with some fricatives such as s and z, one can hear a hissing sound as the sound is being produced. Right? When you say or when you articulate the phoneme s and z, you can hear a hissing sound. Okay? Okay. So now let's proceed to we have discussed, or we did describe that one a while ago. The phonemes F and D are labiodentals. When they are articulated, the upper teeth touch the lower lip. The phonemes and the are dental because to produce the sound, the tip or blade of the tongue touches the upper teeth. And the phonemes and z are alveolar, and sh and z are post-alveolar measure. Are post-alveolar. These sounds involves the tip or blade of the tongue touching the back of the alveolar ridge. The phoneme is glottal because it is produced by bringing the vocal folds close enough to produce a hissing sound. Now let's proceed to the affricates. English has two affricates, voiceless and the other is voice. So we have the ch as in church and j as in judge. Both of these words are palatal. So when we say palatal, their articulation involves the front of the tongue touching the hard palate. So say it again, church and judge, church and judge. So again, both of these words are palatal. So as you can observe, the front of your tongue is touching the hard palate. Okay, so therefore both of these sounds are palatal. As the IPA symbols for these sounds suggest, an affricate is the combination of a stop and a fricative. That is, when these sounds are produced, the tongue causes complete blockage of air. However, after the air is released, the tongue creates enough obstruction of the flow of the air to create the kind of turbulence associated with fricatives. So again, for church and for judge. Okay. So now let's proceed to the English approximants. There are two types. Before that, approximant is a consonant. Consonant is a consonant that sounds in some ways like a vowel. Approximant again is a consonant that sounds in some ways like a vowel. So we have two types of approximants, the central and the lateral approximants. So English has three approximants: the r, the ye, and the w. The ra, the ye, and the w. Okay. All four approximants are voiced. The phonemes r and l are alveolar, while ye is palatal. The phoneme w is different from other approximant in that its articulation is bilabial velar. That is, as the sound is articulated, the lips narrow at the back of the tongue touches the soft palate. Thus, the production of these sounds involves two places of articulation. Again, the approximant to wa is bilabial velar. Why is it bilabial velar? Because as the sound is articulated, the lips narrow and back of the tongue touches the soft palate, as in wet. So we have central approximants, the r, the ye, and the wa. Lateral approximants like. All approximants are voiced. The phonemes r and l is alveolar, while ye is palatal. The phoneme wa is different because again its articulation is bilabial velar. The lips narrow at the back of the tongue touches the soft palate. So this one. The wa is as in watch, bilabial and velar. Both lips and tongue raised at the back. Watch. The r or the ra is alveolar because the tongue close to the alveolar ridge. R as in rug, and palatal for ye because the tongue and roof of the mouth, this one here, ye as in yet. Okay. So now, let's proceed to the vowels in English. But before that one, let us watch first this video.
These are all the English vowel sounds. These other ones are diphthongs, which are also vowel sounds. But there's another video that I've made especially about diphthong sounds. You can watch it here. So there are all of these English vowel sounds, but only word, it can be pronounced in a few different ways. Short, e, as in egg. Long, e, as in she. Long with an accent, as in cafe. Or the lazy schwa sound. This sound is so lazy. Like 11. 11. So let's look at this group of English sounds. Remember that they're sounds, not English letters. Now let's look at the first two sounds, E and I. These sounds cause a few problems for English learners. E and I. Let's look at this example. Beach. It has the long vowel sound in this word. E. Beach. If you mispronounce this long vowel sound and use the short I sound, you'll say bitch. That's a great word. Beach. Each. Here's another example. Sheet. Sheet. It uses the long vowel sound, but if you accidentally use the short vowel sound, you'll say shit. That is also a really rude word. So long vowel sounds and short vowel sounds are important in English. The short sound is I, hit, sing, bit, which, disc. The long vowel sound is E, meet, eat, beach, sheet, believe. Next, we have the vowel sound U. You'll hear that in words like book, cook, sugar. And then we have the longer sound oo. You'll hear this sound in words like you, two, shoe, who, computer. Let's move on. It's also easy to confuse the I vowel sound with the short E vowel sound. E, egg, 10, left, excellent. Below that we have A. A. You'll hear this sound in words like cat, flat, compact, that. Let's go through the middle now. Next we have my favourite sound. It's the laziest sound in English. It's also the most commonly heard sound in English. You'll hear it a lot. Today, teacher, the, around. Then there's as in her, word, first, work, bird. Notice that the same English sound can be used for all of those different letters. underneath we move from the A sound to A. A. You can hear this sound in words like cup, but, butter, truck. Then there's the ah sound. Ah. Ah. As in far, part, and heart. Then we have the o sound. O. You can hear this sound in not, on, log, God, forgot. So that's it for English vowel sound pronunciation today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel down here.
Okay, so vowels in English. While the number of consonants across dialects of English is relatively constant, with vowels there is considerably more dialectical variation. For this reason, the discussion in this section will be restricted to the vowels found in the standard varieties of American and British English, also known as or referred to as General American or GA, and received pronunciation or RP. Vowels found in the standard. These are vowels found in the standard varieties of American and British English. Okay. So vowels are classified according to the relative position of the tongue in the mouth, how high or low the tongue is positioned, which is in the vertical axis on the left, and the degree to which the tongue is placed in front of the mouth, or the horizontal axis on top. So let's take a look in table 0.72 again. The vowels found in General American and RP are classified according to the relative position of the tongue in the mouth, how high or low the tongue is positioned, which is in the vertical axis on the left, and the degree to which the tongue is placed in the front or back of the mouth, or the horizontal axis on top. The vowel I is considered, or the vowel E is considered as close front vowel because when this vowel is articulated, the front of the tongue is at very high position in the very front of the mouth. However, the vowel U or the vowel U or U is a close back vowel because like E or I, the tongue is in the high mouth. However, rather than the tongue being positioned in the front of the mouth, the back of the tongue is high in the back of the mouth. So the vowel A or A is also a back vowel, but it is open because unlike U, the back of the tongue is low in the mouth. The vowel E, also known as the schwa, is pronounced with the tongue at the height midway between the top and the bottom of the mouth and positioned in the center of the mouth. So the vowel E is pronounced with the tongue positioned slightly slower in the mouth than the schwa, but not as close to the front of the mouth as E. The remaining vowels exhibit varying degrees of height and frontness and backness. So let's now proceed to the vowel differences in GA and RP, or in General American. And what do we mean by RP? It is the received pronunciation. Okay, so General American is rothic or because r occurs the following vowels within a syllable. However, the received pronunciation is non-rothic because r, the letter R or the phoneme r does not occur following vowels in the same context. So GA and RP shares three diphthongs, the I, the ow, and the oi. I as in fight, ow as in house, and oi as in boy. Okay. So in GA, anytime a vowel occurs before an r in a single syllable, r colors the vowel, creating a single sound. However, in RP, in contrast, there is no such sequence of vowels plus r exist, resulting instead in diphthongs. So let's take a look for example. So the fear, for example, in GA, it is pronounced fear. In RP, it is fear, fey. Masyag fey. Next is fair. So fair and fey. Tar, and tie. For, and fo. See? So in RP, there is no such sequence of vowels plus R exist, resulting instead in diphthong. So as you can see, I, A, E, oi. It looks like or it sounds like a diphthongs. Okay. So although many of the words in the list are pronounced similarly, there are some notable differences, just like that one. But the most notable differences between GA and RP is the pronunciation of the word park. A word that would be pronounced as park in GA but pak in RP. So therefore, GA is rothic. Why rothic? GA is rothic because r occurs following vowels within a syllable. RP is non-rothic because R does not occur following vowels in the same syllable. Okay. So again, GA is rothic. When you say rothic, R occurs or the phoneme R occurs following vowels in a syllable. In RP is non-rothic because R does not occur following vowels in the same context. Because RP is non-rothic, it has many more diphthongs than GA. All of the vowels discussed thus far have been monophthongs. When we say monophthongs, vowels whose quality remains relatively constant during their articulation, as stated by Ashby and Maidment at 2005. So, same goes here. So, it looks like diphthongs in RP, okay? Because RP is non-rothic. Non-rothic, there is a drop of R. They do not pronounce or articulate R in a given word. Okay, so we have here other classification in vowels. Vowels have additional classification. So as we can see in table 7.2, all of the vowels outside the rectangular box are considered tense. Is one. All of the vowels outside the rectangular box are considered tense. Those within the box are considered lax. In English, tense vowels tend to be long while lax vowels are short. For instance, the tense vowel E in a word such as feet, it has a longer duration than the lax vowel A as in fit. But tense and lax vowels have other differences too. While tense vowels can occur in both open and closed syllables, lax vowels are restricted to closed syllables. A closed syllable is syllable ending with a consonant. In such syllables, one finds either tense or lax. So we have here an example. So we have here tense vowels. So let's read. Read, shoot, hate, talk. And lax vowels is fit, sat, help, took, took. Again, tense vowels are read, shoot, hate, talk. Fit, lax vowels are fit, sat, help, took. Okay. So again, lax vowels are short, tense vowels are long. Okay. Tense vowels can occur both open and closed syllables, while lax vowels are restricted to closed syllables. Syllables ending with a consonant. When we say closed syllables, those are syllables ending with a consonant. So, open syllable in contrast end in a vowel. Only tense vowels can occur in such syllables. Okay, again, be, sue, pay, and law. Okay, these are only tense vowels can occur in such syllables. Vowels can also be rounded or spread. When a vowel such as E is articulated, the lips are spread apart. In contrast, when U is pronounced, the lips are rounded. So these are oo, 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 o. So you can observe that your lips is rounded. So back vowels such as oo, o, ow, o, and o are all rounded vowels. So other than that, other than this one, all vowels are spread. Okay, so again, there are other classifications of vowels. So vowels we have lax and tense vowels. Tense vowels can occur in, tense vowels are long, such as E, or the E as in read, or E as in fit. Lax vowels are short, as in fit, or A as in fit, and A as in sat, A as in help, and U as in took, O as in took. Okay. While tense vowels can occur in both an open and closed syllables, lax vowels are restricted to closed syllables. So when we say closed syllables, these are syllable ending with a consonant. So read, shoot, so the vowel E, hate, talk, sat, help, took. So open syllables in contrast end in a vowel. Only tense vowels can occur in such syllables. So only tense vowels. Only tense vowels can occur in these syllables. The be, the sue, the pay, and the law. So again, vowels can be rounded or spread. When a vowel such as E is articulated, the lips are spread apart, as in E, feet. In contrast, when U is pronounced, the lips are rounded. So we have back vowels such as U, this one here. These are all rounded vowels. All other vowels are spread. So I think that would be all for my discussion. Thank you so much for listening. God bless everyone.